the word and look at the etymology or the history of a word, one of the things that's done is that you break the word down into its individual parts. It could be a prefix on the word, it could be the root word, it could be a suffix on that word.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk about materialism or anything with an ISM, an ism,
Right.
on that suffix right there, that really talks about a view. It could be a world view, it could be a cultural view,
Right.
any of those things, but it has to do with a view. And when you say the word materialism, then you're talking about a view that says that the material that one owns defines them. Whether that material be wealth, whether it be health, whether it be cars, whether it be gold, whether it be riches, but that's what defines them. So now, I think with that understanding, anyone who is materialistic in the view of materialism has a view that their importance is wrapped up and tied up in the material that they own.
And I'm going to back up on that because I'm going to read a couple of things that psychology says about that. It says these days you'll be hard pressed to find someone who is opposed to the view that we are living in an increasingly materialistic world. Every day there's a new must-have item with people going to ever-increasing lengths to get their hands on them. No better typified than the long queues of camped-out punters eager to get their hands on the new whatever. And then down here further, it says, firstly, the big thing, men will argue to a great length about women's materialistic tendencies are much greater than those of men. Citing the commonly held notion that women tend to look for partners that have significant wealth, and argument that there is compelling data. When it comes to materialism, like you said, however, psychology, research shows that men are significantly more materialistic than their female counterparts, to which evolutionary psychologists would answer, it's because they have to generate sufficient wealth to attract women who are looking for men with money.
Wow. Isn't that wild? That men will do all types of anything to gravitate towards the opposite sex in that manner. Because I would add a caveat to this, because you have to kind of differentiate between what one would call a materialistic person who deals in the philosophy of materialism and someone who's just in a fad. And see, that's usually where women get caught up in. When you deal with the dress, you know, the changing of venue in clothing and things, you find that women are always going. As a matter of fact, I was watching them today. They have the little asymmetrical dress and skirt now, where it's high in the front and lower in the back. I've seen it. Isn't that something else? With the little fluffy and ruffle type decor in it. That's come from some designer, and it was made famous by a couple of actresses or something like that, walking down the red carpet, and everybody took. You see, but that's more of a form of desiring to be accepted. That's not materialism.
Okay.
And that's why what you just read is definitely true. See, men will do it for the sake of control and power, because they believe that can get that. Most women, now there are some that do it, but most women are coming from a platform of being accepted.
And to back that, I'm just reading something there, what you just said about control. It says, research suggests that many of the associations between personality and materialism are dependent on people's level of job and life control.
Yes.
Or what, in broader terms, we would refer to as self-edificy. But correlations are generally weak, and there are many unexpected aspects of materialism, even when you factor in more than personality variables.
Sure. And a simple note in what that is saying, the element of control is really a facade.
Okay.
It's a falsehood, because the moment that which you're trying to control becomes dissatisfied with you, guess what? They rebel. And then you realize something that was always true from the beginning. You never really had control. All you got to do is just stop breathing, or try to stop breathing for a moment, and you'll see how much control you really have.
Well, again, you've been listening to Let's Talk About It, and we're talking about materialism and materialistic people. And my guest here is Marvin. I'm going to say Mad Dog. We're going to explain that pretty soon down in the broadcast. Again, if you have questions, suggestions, just email me at doesitmatterwhen@gmail.com. Now, Marvin, we're about ready to close out this program on materialism.
Thank you.
I got one or two questions here. Can money cure cancer? I know before you answer, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to tell you why. All the money and all the years that they've been spending on cancer.
Yes.
I mean, there's no cure yet.
Yes.
They can treat it, but there's no cure. Can money cure, or is it money is feeding cancer? I'm gonna let you answer.
Wow, there's so many, and you asked me that question in the right time frame, because I've been doing quite a bit of research on this. A dear friend of mine, about 3-4 years ago, was actually going through this bout of cancer, and after about 1.5 years, dumped all of the traditional treatment, the chemo, everything, and now he's cancer-free.
Get out of here.
Totally cancer-free. I see him almost every day, at least 2-3 times a week. His numbers and everything, he continued to go to the doctor, the oncologist, let them measure him and check, because they were very concerned about him. Now, I think their concern was more for their procedure, that he wasn't going through it, and say, you need to do this. But after we got through doing a couple of things and investigating, I would put forth, and I'm just a common everyday individual. I'm not a medical doctor, none of that. So I'm not giving any advice in regards to what people should do. But your body is very capable
Of curing
itself. Given the right conditions with your immune system, and there are now out there, if you Google it and look, doctors out there who have come out of the mainstream traditional medical approach to cancer, and they have a whole different approach. Several of them are labeled rebels and all these different things, but they're out there. All you got to do is Google them, and you'll find them. I guarantee you this.
Wow. So that answers my question. Well, we know money can't buy love. We know money can't really cure cancer.
No.
And I try to link up money as the reason for people to be materialistic. Without money, you can't be materialistic. Or is that true?
Well, without some value system in place. And money happens to be a part of our value system when you're talking about trading and bartering. Okay? And that's the big thing, that money is our value system in that sense. And without that, to trade and barter, then no, you can't be materialistic in your action. You can always be materialistic in your mind, because whatever the system you're going to use, that's what the materialistic person is going to go after. So if rocks is the value, they're going to try to get all the rocks they can so that they can control what they believe they can control. You really have to understand this. A materialistic person dealing in materialism, that viewpoint, that philosophy, because that's what it is. It's like baptism and theism and whatever ism you want. It's a philosophy. That's what psychology today will tell you. It's a philosophy of, I'm defined by my material possessions. Yes, that's all it is.
Now, when a woman in particular seeks out a person that has money, because that's what they're used to, is being cared for, would that person be considered to be materialistic?
I don't think so much materialistic. One of the things, I think they're just being prudent. women look for security,
Okay.
and that's it. And an individual who has a good paying job and stuff can provide a lot of security for them. And I think at some point in time, most women, this is during their younger stages.
Okay, you just hit on
Yeah.
something important. It can buy security,
Yes,
but it can't buy love. Because if they're
No,
looking for
no.
security,
right.
they're not guaranteed
To find love.
to find love or give love.
Right. Yes.
Because all they're
Yes.
concerned about is, can you take care of me?
Yes. And at some point in time, it's going to become tedious and burdensome.
Right.
And they're going to learn. And some change is going to have to take place. I would hope and pray that I've seen many of them make that change. And along with the person who was the security provider. Because we all have to go to that place of making a change and understanding, again, going right back to question 1 and 2, what really is true happiness and what really is true love. You see, we have all different types of various impressions of that in our young, early stages. But as we learn and travel through the corridors of time, we find that those impressions are totally wrong.
Well, you just kind of summed up the whole program. I really appreciate that because you're right. Love and happiness. It sounds like a song, like you said.
Yeah.
Love and happiness.
Make you want to do wrong.
Make you want to do right.
Make you want to do right.
All right. Well, this is David Spencer, your host, and this program is called Let's Talk About It, and I want to thank you, Marvin. Oh, before we
Thank
go,
you.
though,
Yes.
we're going to talk about Mad Dog. How did that come to be?
Wow. Real quick, I'm going to do this in about 30 seconds. Young lad going into the military in 1977. Wow, it was really tough back then, a lot tougher than what it is today. It's not the same. 10-mile road hike, we had 20 minutes to get water. And man, I'm telling you, tensions were high. You know, we were dusty and down in the backwoods of Fort Gordon, Georgia. It's hot and it's in July and tempers were flaring. So we at the water line trying to fill up our canteens, and I was back there, finally got up to about 3rd place, and this joker came and jumped the line. Now, I'm not advocating violence. Please, don't think that for a moment. But like I said, tensions were high. Everybody was dusty and tired. And he jumped the line, and I said, hey, line's back there. And when that rascal turned around and put his hands on his hip, something say hit him. I know what the something is now, but we're not going to discuss that during this program. He said hit him. I said, pow! I hit that rascal. Jesus. And when the dust settled, he was still standing. And we just...
My God.
He came at me with both fists. I jumped on him and threw him on the ground, and I was pounding this rascal. Long story short, they pulled us apart. The drill sergeants came, took us back out to march, and while we was marching, this bald-headed guy behind me said, man, you were like a mad dog. A mad dog. She said, let's go jump out of planes, man. We can go airborne. And I look at him and say, I ain't crazy. I'm a mad dog. I ain't jumping out no perfectly good plane. Have you lost your mind? And it kind of stuck in the military. And
now we know.
Yeah, that's been almost 40 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, thank you for that, Marvin, Mad Dog. And,
thank you.
Again, this is David Spencer, your host of Let's Talk About It. Email me at doesn'tmatterwhen@gmail.com. Thank you.
Well, that's it for now. Email us at doesitmatterwhen@gmail.com if you have a comment or a topic for us. Until then, thank you for listening.